Hi, hello, welcome to Spell Day. We're covering a spell every single day of the year from the 5e PHB +3. Those +3 spells are homebrew spells. We're at +1 at the moment. You can back and playlist to find it. Today's spell is Meteor Swarm.
Come on! Get it over with! Oh, sounds like they're excited for me down there. Okay, I'm excited to meet everybody. Here we go. Oh, fuck this hot! No!
9th level evocation, casting time of 1 action, range of 1 mile. Components verbal, somatic, duration instantaneous. Blazing orbs of fire plummet to the ground at 4 different points that you can see within range. Each creature in a 40-foot radius sphere, centered on each point you choose, must make a dexterity saving throw. The sphere spreads around corners. A creature takes 2d6 fire damage and 20d6 bludgeoning damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. A creature in the area of more than 1 fiery burst is affected only once. The spell damages objects in the area and ignites flammable objects that aren't being worn or carried. Oh, I lost the page. Okay, another big spell. When was the last time we covered a 9th level? If Fireball is the pinnacle low-level evocation spell, well, not low-level, but you know what I mean. This is the pinnacle big evocation spell. It's the just, I'm going to hit things. Do you see that goblin camp over there? They're going to go the way of the dinosaur. Or, if you do see a dinosaur over there, make them go that way. Alright, the fact that only 1 meteor hits a creature once, that's just a balance reason. The fact they spread around corners is interesting, because that also includes the bludgeoning damage. It's not saying, oh, only the fire damage spreads around corners. It's still the total 40d6, which, man, is that a number. 40-foot radius, 4 projectiles of a 40-foot radius with 40d6 in total. They really like their 4s. 20 fire, 20 bludgeoning, which means if something's going to benefit from having resistance against those, they're going to need against both of them. But anyway, yes, the balance reason, because if you could stack it up to 160 d6, yeah, no, that the game would, there'd be no game. There'd be no game. Every encounter would end with 1 stack of meteor swarms hitting the same location. But I mean, this is the big explosion. This is the big explosion. Where do the orbs come from, though? Do they just manifest in midair? And especially because they do bludgeoning damage, which means they have to have a mass? And it's not conjuration, this is evocation, so you're making it. But then again, Wall of Stone is evocation for some reason. A mile radius though, you don't even have to get close to a battlefield. Because this is also the thing, it's similar to the Earthquake spell, and this is the big natural disaster spell, except it's less natural and it's more a giant meteor. Because the big keyword is in the second the second segment of the spell, where it still ignites objects. That's a big plus. That's a 4 projectile, 40-foot radius of everything's on fire now. And hey, fire spreads. But the big one is that it damages buildings. Now, not every building takes fire damage, but I'm finding it hard to think of a building that is immune to bludgeoning. Now, it specifically says objects. Does that count as buildings? I say yes. It doesn't have the siege attacker equipment, but come on, it's a giant meteor hitting a small village hall or the wall of a castle. It's a 40-foot radius impact. 4 of them. And it also only says, and okay, even when it comes to the objects and damage-wise, the creature is unaffected by multiple area of effects overlapping on each other from this one casting. Objects aren't. And objects targeted by this, or objects just happening to be with an overlapping radius, are taking that 160 d6 we were just talking about. So if you're in a 1 ring scenario and you need to get rid of that, just, chuck 4 meteors at it. Also, a mile radius, does that mean, okay, yes, you can target, and it says plummets from the air, so does that mean it just manifests a mile up? Is it coming from your hand and going the entire mile, like a big flaming catapult? Is it just coming down from somewhere at a really high speed? Doesn't describe it, so it's up to the GM or player. Have fun with it. But no, outside of looking at the different spellcasters casting in on the same turn, and the fact objects are affected by it entirely, as in the 4 meteors can hit the object all at once. Fiery Doom. It's a lot of what's on the tin. It's a swarm of meteors, and it's a big radius, lots of damage. sets a lot of things on fire and kills a lot of people. I cannot think of a commoner that can resist 40 d6 damage. So yeah, another, especially because it's a mile radius, it's even longer range than Earthquake. You can just pop in, Meteor Swarm, and pop out. Alright, and for Meteor Swarm, we're giving it a 10 out of 10. Why 10 out of 10? Well, adventure-wise, it would be 9 out of 10. Just because, you know, it's the big blast spell. It's decently balanced being at 9th level. I say decently. And it's basically because a creature is only targeted once by Meteor Swarm. But in the sense of world building, and general armies and troops and whatever is in 4 40-foot radii are gone. If it's not one big monster, which is what the adventurers are usually going up against at that point in the game, then yeah, Meteor Swarm is a 9 out of 10. Still a huge chunk of damage, still clearing a battlefield, still destroying objects in that case. And maybe 8 out of 10 adventure-wise. Alright, well, we'll do a split rating. 10 out of 10 because summoning meteors, but nah, adventure-wise, there's other utility-based 9th level spells, or incapacitation-based 9th level spells that might be a bit more worth it, and at least can be a bit more prominent in other situations outside of one big open battlefield, because you get to the point where your party's likely gonna be within that 40-foot radius, or at least you run that threat. But yeah, 10 out of 10 and 8 out of 10.